We will be fine. I promise you.
What would you do if a dying star fell into your backyard, and inside it you found a child who wasn't human? This is the story of a man who chose love over fear, and paid a price no one could have imagined. Daniel Reyes was 38 years old, and he lived alone in a small wooden cabin at the edge of Millbrook Forest. He had no wife, no children, no family left. 5 years ago, he had lost everything in a car accident: his wife, his unborn daughter, his reason to smile. Every night, he sat on his porch, staring at the stars, wondering if there was any meaning left in his life. He never expected the stars to answer back. It was a cold October night. The sky lit up with a blinding streak of blue fire. Daniel ran outside just in time to see something crash into the forest. Not a meteor, but metal. Twisted, glowing metal. He should have called the police. He should have run away. Instead, he walked toward the wreckage. Inside the broken pod, curled up and shaking, was a child. Her skin was pale lavender, her eyes an unnatural silver, glowing faintly in the dark. She couldn't have been older than 6. She looked at him, not with fear, but with a strange, quiet trust. "Please," she whispered in a voice that somehow translated itself into his mind. "Don't let them find me." Daniel didn't understand what she was. He didn't understand where she came from. But he understood one thing. She was scared, alone, and she needed someone. He took her home. He named her Alira, after a word she whispered in her sleep. Over the next few months, something impossible happened. The broken man and the alien child became a family. Alira learned to laugh at his terrible jokes. Daniel learned to braid her strange silver hair. She would fall asleep on his chest while he read her human fairy tales, and in return, she taught him songs from a world he could never pronounce the name of. For the first time in 5 years, Daniel Reyes felt alive again. But peace never lasts forever. Strange things began happening. Lights in the sky that weren't planes. A humming sound at night that made the trees shake. Once, Daniel found strange footprints in the snow, 3-toed, deep, and inhuman. Alira grew quiet whenever she saw the lights. "They're getting closer," she said one night, her small hands trembling. "When they find me, you won't be safe." "Who is they, Alira?" Daniel asked gently. She looked down. "My people." That night, Alira finally told him the truth. She wasn't just an orphan. She was the last surviving heir of the Valkyrian Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Her family had been killed in a political uprising, and she had been smuggled away in an escape pod, crash landing on the only planet her guardians believed was too primitive to be searched: Earth. "If they find me," she said, "they'll either kill me to end my bloodline forever, or force me to rule an empire I never wanted." Daniel knelt down and held her hands. "Then we'll face it together. I didn't save you to lose you now." 3 days later, the sky tore open. A massive alien fleet descended over Millbrook Forest, blotting out the sun. Soldiers in dark battle armor marched from their ships, scanning the ground with glowing devices. Panic spread through the nearby town, but Daniel didn't run. He stood in front of his cabin, Alira hiding behind his legs, and faced an army alone. A tall figure stepped forward, a commander clad in golden armor, her expression unreadable. "Human," she said, her voice echoing with authority. "Step aside. The child does not belong to your world." Daniel didn't move. "She's not just the child. She's my daughter." The commander's eyes narrowed. "You dare defy the Valkyrian Empire? One word from me, and this entire forest will cease to exist." "Then say the word," Daniel replied, his voice shaking but firm. "But you'll have to go through me first." For a long, tense moment, nobody moved. Soldiers raised their weapons. Alira gripped Daniel's hand tightly, tears streaming down her face. Then, the commander did something no one expected. She removed her helmet. "My name is Sereth," she said quietly. "I served under Alira's mother. I did not come to kill her. I came to protect her, as I swore I would." Daniel's chest tightened with disbelief. Sereth knelt before Illyra. Your Highness, your people have waited 5 years for your return. The uprising has ended. Those responsible for your family's death have been overthrown. Your empire needs its true heir. Illyra looked up at Daniel, her silver eyes filled with fear and confusion. I don't want to leave him. Daniel felt his heart breaking, but he knelt down to her level. Illyra, listen to me, he said softly. I never wanted to be a hero. I just wanted someone to love, and you gave me that. But you were never meant to hide in a small cabin forever. You were born to lead, to heal your people the way you healed me. Tears fell down her cheeks. But you're my family, and I always will be, Daniel whispered. No empire, no distance. Nothing will ever change that. Illyra hugged him tightly, whispering a promise in her native language, one that Daniel somehow understood without translation. I will return for you. As the ship's ramp lowered, Sereth turned to Daniel one final time. The Empire owes you a debt it can never repay, for raising our future ruler with kindness, when you could have shown fear. Daniel simply nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. The fleet rose into the sky, disappearing into the stars, leaving Daniel alone once again in his quiet forest. Years passed. Daniel grew older, but he never lost hope. Then one evening, the sky lit up once more, not with warships, but with a single elegant vessel descending gently onto his land. The doors opened, and there she stood, no longer a frightened child, but a young woman in regal armor, the Empress of Valkarion. I told you I'd return, Illyra said, smiling through tears. Daniel opened his arms, and she ran into them just like she used to. Sometimes, the family we choose becomes stronger than the family we're born into. Daniel never sought power, glory, or destiny. He simply chose love in a moment of fear, and in doing so, he changed the fate of an entire galaxy. Because sometimes, heroes aren't born in battle, they're born in kindness.